Hi everyone, and nice work in making it to the end of week 4. It's gone so very fast. Thanks to everyone who's been engaging in the weekly discussions. We appreciate the time that you're taking, and it's so good to hear about your perspectives and experiences. We really enjoy that aspect of the modules. Just a gentle reminder to anyone who hasn't yet had a chance to add to the discussions, you will need to jump in there and add your posts if you in order to successfully complete the module. But also, we want to hear from you. We're interested in how everyone is doing and finding out about all of your research projects. This week, we've moved into the creative thinking aspect of the module, and it's really interesting to even initially consider whether you think you are a creative person or not. I don't really think that I'm creative because I can barely draw a straight line. I have very untidy handwriting, and my mum, she was very arty and crafty and could paint and draw beautifully. I can't draw to save my life. But as we've seen, the creativity we're talking about, it's not so much about being a painter or an artist as such. We're talking about the creativity of our ideas, how we express those ideas, how we collaborate with others, and in the way we learn. And then how we use that learning in a creative way to put that knowledge into practice to be innovative and solve problems. So maybe I'm more creative than I think, and maybe you are too. The materials this week have also shown how critical and creative thinking complement each other and align rather than being opposing practices that we could use at different times. Much like writing, our thinking is iterative, where our creativity sparks ideas, and then our critical thinking allows us to analyze the ideas and identify the strengths and weaknesses. Critical thinking helps us recognize and challenge our own biases, which we've seen in earlier weeks of the module, and then that leads us to create potential and innovative solutions. We also know that sometimes our creative or innovative ideas might not always end up being practical or feasible, so we use our critical thinking to evaluate the implications, the limitations, or the potential consequences, and maybe we can then troubleshoot or come up with tweaks or changes. Or our critical thinking might tell us that it's best to abandon this innovative idea that we've come up with. That process itself is still all about learning. Even if our creativity hasn't quite worked out, it's all still part of that research process. So we're combining creativity and critical thinking to find the right balance, to make the best decisions or the most appropriate decisions for the specific context we're working in. And just really quickly as well, in regard to creativity and your writing, when I'm teaching research writing practices and strategies, I often talk a lot about the mechanics of research writing, things like coherence and cohesion. So coherence is the big picture of the document, it's the chapters and the sections, and the cohesion is the paragraph level, which involves topic sentences and sentence structure and grammar and the vocabulary that you're using. So I also talk about the need to engage the reader and be explicit about the value of the research, and I talk about structure and logic and flow. So these writing practices can seem really prescriptive, as in very strict and precise, and I guess that they are. Plus, of course, research writing, we usually need to follow a referencing style, which again forces us into following protocols. But there's always room for your creativity as well. The words you use, the use of figures or images, the way you present and report your findings and discuss them, the way you scaffold the reader and bring them on your research journey and let them into all of your thinking and your ideas and your innovations. The way you report on the current knowledge in the field also requires creativity to keep the reader engaged and wanting to know more. So I hope you've been able to find your inner creativity and have been able to consider ways you can use that creativity in your studies and in your writing.